Now that the buttonholes are in and the casing is made, you're going to come back onto a flat surface again and make sure that your hood lays smoothly inside, the hood lining lays smoothly inside the hood. And so I'm laying it out flat. I'm going to flip this over now and do the same thing on both sides here, making sure that that hood lining lays flat inside of there. And then I actually even like to pick it up and put it over my hand, put my hand in a fist, kind of representing the back of my head there, and make sure that that hood lining sits inside of my hood. And if you'll notice down here now, you can see that my lining and the edge of my hood don't match. People are always tempted now to, oh my goodness, I'm going to pull that back up and line those edges up. They didn't line up for a reason. Your outside piece of cloth actually has to go further than the inside piece of cloth that does. And so we're allowing for that turn of cloth. And so as you put your hand up in there and make sure that the lining is laying smooth inside, you will find that that lining now sticks out just a little bit beyond the bottom of the hood. And it should. If it's sticking out this far, check again. It shouldn't. It should be between 1/8 and 3/16 of an inch that you've got down there in the bottom. So just use your hand, make sure that it's laying smooth up inside of there. Lay it down. And the easiest thing to do at this point now is just trim the lining to match the hood. So take that little piece of lining that's sticking out there and trim it off so that it is the same length as the hood, and you're not tempted to go back now and line those up, and then you'll wind up with a bubble across the hood. And so be sure that you trim that down. So once you're trimmed, then you're ready to attach the hood. So I will trim the other side and then we'll pin the hood on. All right, we are now ready to pin the hood to the jacket. And so we're going to pin the right side of the hood to the right side of the jacket, matching up areas that need to be aligned. And again, remember, I took my hood and made sure that my lining laid smooth inside of there, and then trimmed long part to match short part so that as I'm playing with this, it will lay smoothly now. And so center back is going to align to little clip with center back in the jacket and get pinned together. And then there is a clip for the shoulder seam to match the shoulder seam. Your jackets will actually have a dart right there marking the shoulder alignment. This one again is a little small child's jacket, and it does not have the dart for the shoulder seam. But yours will actually have a dart right here that you'll be matching to your clip. And then, very important place to match up, you must match up the front and make sure that those two fleece edges are lined up exactly. I'm going to stick this pin in the opposite direction to show you why here. That when that hood comes up, you want the hood to come straight up from the jacket. You do not want that front of the hood sticking out beyond, or you do not want it to be short. That front of the hood has got to align exactly with the front of the jacket. The nice thing about fleece is that, yes, it's a stable knit, but it still has enough stretch, enough give, that if in the cutting or the construction process you were off just a little bit, you can ease that back in through the little bit of stretch that you have in your fabric. And so you'll pin that all the way around. Again, same thing on this side. Make sure the front aligns, because that is truly the place where it's going to look the goofiest if it doesn't match. So make certain that front aligns and matches. And and then we will sew this seam at 5/8 of an inch. Okay. Now, if you had to shorten your zipper, you will run into a potential problem here. So the potential problem I ran into, when I sew at 5/8, you can see that, yes, I planned it just right. The edge of my zipper will be sewn there, but my foot has to sit right on top of the zipper, and it is going to tend to, as I sew, want to push to the side here and get caught. And so one option that you have is to pop that foot off and put your zipper foot on. If you put your zipper foot on, you need to bump your needle all the way over. Now, however, when I'm sewing, my needle bumped over. Here's my 5/8 inch line, but if I measure from my needle, you can see that it's bumped over 1/8 of an inch, and so I actually would be sewing, lining up my fabric at 1/2 inch instead of 5/8 if I've had to shorten that, or shorten my zipper out the top there. But what that does for me is allows me now to sew, to line that up right at that 1/2 inch and to stitch, and my foot is not sitting on the zipper as I'm sewing. And so I can sew and sew all the way around to here at that 1/2 inch. If it bugs you to sew any further, you can actually quit there. You're past the part of the zipper that's giving you grief, and you could pop that off if you want to. Put the other foot back on. Remember to put your needle back into the center, and you could line up here, and now 5/8 of an inch will line up exactly where you're sewing. And if you're more comfortable sewing with the regular foot, you could sew the rest of the way around there on a regular foot. The problem is, though, that when you get back to this side, you're going to run into the same problem. You're going to get to here, line up, and be on top of your foot. If you're very careful, you can, pause for a second, and I know mine is not sewn all the way around, but I just want to show you. If you're very careful, it is possible to sew on top of the zipper. You just have to really hang on to it and not let it push you to one side. That you've got to keep your hand in there and hold on to that. So you do have that option of just using your regular foot and having the foot lay on top of that zipper. And so then your hood will be totally attached.